This video is part 2 of my playthrough of Napoleon in Egypt, or the Egyptian campaign from S&T number 249. And where we left off was on turn 5. The score was France 25-20, and we are now moving into turn 6, which starts a new year. It is representing January of 1799. And the event played is British intervention. So that's a good event for the Ottoman players. You know, during this time period, the British and the French were amid struggles. So the Ottoman player ends up receiving 3 British units as reinforcements. And one of the units is the Royal Navy, but they also get a Marine brigade and an artillery brigade. So those forces land at Jaffa. The French also get some reinforcements, and the Corps battalion is deployed, and the French 1st and 3rd infantry divisions move to Qadiyah. Then a force led by the guides moves toward the town of El Mansoura, and the Scientific Commission goes to the site of the Great Pyramids to collect artifacts. You can see this unit depicted here. It's marked SC. The Scientific Commission has a little magnifying glass, and they are going to get victory points for basically raiding the Great Pyramids. During the Ottoman part of the turn, they receive reinforcements in Anatolia again, so this is far away from where the fighting is going on, but they may be able to be useful later if they can be brought into Egypt. Those reinforcements include the 4th Bedouin Cavalry, the 3rd Janissaries, and the 3rd Sipahi. And then the 1st and 2nd Bedouin units move toward the east and set up a screen behind the town of El Arish. There's no combat this time, but the score has changed again. It is now France with 27 victory points to the Ottoman 19. Again, you can see the picture showing the raiding of the Great Pyramids. Then we go on to turn 7. Turn 7 is representing February of 1799, and the event this time is that Egypt and Syria are struck by the plague. And so many men on both sides are sick and dying, and this is reflected in the loss of units and the reduction of units. The French player does receive reinforcements. They receive the 2nd Dromedary Corps, which is a battalion-sized unit, and it will be able to move along very quickly because it's made up of camels. Also, as shown in the picture here, you can see the Scientific Observation Commission has moved into Memphis, right in the center of the picture, and it is collecting artifacts. Of course, these are for French victory points. Then to the east, the French forces move toward Qadiyah, and that group includes the guides as well as siege equipment. And French cavalry near Fayoum attack the Sipahi forces deployed there, and both sides suffer losses. In the picture here, though, you can see the guides as well as the 2nd Camel unit in Qadiyah. These forces are heading, along this route into Syria. During the Ottoman part of the turn, they have no reinforcements this time, but the 4th Battalion moves from El Minya to Beni Suef, which you can see in the picture here, and they recapture the town, so that town's worth victory points. So, the French abandoned it, but it wasn't safe. So it's been recaptured. And then an Ottoman force from El Minya drives to Fayoum and launches a raid against the French cavalry stationed there. I don't have a picture of that, but the French cavalry are routed by the Ottoman forces, which are led by the Oglans, which I believe are guard cavalry. Then the French science unit gains a victory point for looting Memphis, and that changes the score now to France with 29 victory points to the Ottomans with 22 victory points. We now go into turn 8, which represents March of 1799. The event is Ottoman infighting, so there is discord among the Ottoman forces in Egypt this time, so these troops are not going to be able to move or attack, which is a really good news for the French. The French army receives a Moroccan infantry battalion as reinforcements, and then I had the Copts battalion move back into Cairo, and the scientific observation unit moved into the Heliopolis site. Meanwhile, forces near Memphis, to the south of Memphis, go into the area where the Ottomans are depicted in this picture near the lake, and they attack, counterattacks against these Ottoman forces in Beni Suef and Fayoum. The Ottoman army has made some headway in capturing these areas, but they unfortunately left themselves open to counterattack. That's the nature of their fighting down here. So the French 2nd Cavalry leads an attack against the 4th Battalion, and you can see that depicted partly in the picture here. The 4th Battalion is the bottom unit in the picture at Beni Suef. And this time the defenders rout, and this town is captured by the French. And then the French 4th Division leads an attack against the Ottoman forces in Fayoum. And you can see in the picture they're surrounded. And the French have cavalry here. They have engineers available here. And the Oglans are routed as a result. Also, you can see in this next picture, the French troops have moved into position to attack the British forces in El Arish. You can see the Royal Marine is deployed there. This force includes siege trains and engineers in the attack. Both sides suffer heavy losses in the fighting as a result, but the French win this battle. During the Ottoman part of the turn, the Ottoman player has some reinforcements enter into Egypt, Syria, and Palestine. Remember, though, the forces in Egypt cannot move or attack because of the infighting going on among their ranks. However, the Ottoman forces do launch a counterattack against the Guides just outside of El Arish, and the defending French unit routs. At the end of the turn, the French claim a victory point for looting the Heliopolis site, and this leaves the victory point at France with 38 and the Ottomans with 20. We now go to turn 9, which represents April of 1799. And this time the event is an anti-French revolt in Egypt, and that has the game effect of depleting some of Napoleon's forces that have to deal with the revolt. So in addition to this, the French National Guard battalion enters as a reinforcement, and the French have caught some of the Mameluke cavalry along the north side of Lake Birket Kerem. I don't have a picture showing that, but they do launch an attack against these enemy forces, and it results in a defender catastrophe, and the Ottoman unit is eliminated. Then, as shown in this picture, the French forces at El Arish resume their assault, and this time the fortress is destroyed and the town is captured. The Ottoman player has no reinforcements this time, but he has desertions. I'm not sure if these desertions represent disease, which has taken people away, or disloyalty, but they lose troops. The Ottoman forces near El Arish launch a counterattack against the French 1st Division in the town here, and both sides suffer major casualties. And this time the Ottoman forces win that battle and the town is repatriated. So the score is now adjusted. France has 40 victory points. The Ottomans have 21, and El Arish is repatriated. Now we go to turn 10, which actually represents 2 months of time. It is May and June of 1799. And the event is Ottoman infighting in Egypt. So these units are going to be paralyzed again. So the French get a little bit of advantage from this, but unfortunately it's summer and the desert heat is severely hampering movement, plus the time represented in this turn is actually 2 months because the activity is so much slowed down by the heat. The French army does receive reinforcements, and these are Mamelukes in French service. I had the science unit move into the Pelusium site so that they can gain the victory point for studying there. And then I had the cavalry setting up a screen in Egypt to defend against any future attacks that might come from the Ottomans from the south. I don't have a picture depicting that, though. The French 1st and 3rd Infantry Divisions do launch an attack on El Arish again. And remember, the Ottomans did retake the town, but the fortress was destroyed, so they don't have that as an aid in their defense. So the 2nd Cavalry unit in the Ottomans is destroyed from this battle, and the French suffered the loss of a brigade as well, but recapture El Arish. The Ottoman player does receive 2 reinforcements on his part of the turn, but these come in Anatolia, but they get 2 additional ones in Egypt. So I decided to have the troops in Syria fall back from El Arish, and they move toward Gaza. Then the units in Egypt, remember, can't move because there's infighting, so there's basically no further activity, except that the Scientific Commission of the Institute of Egypt does recover the victory point at Pelusium. So the score is now France 43 victory points to Ottomans 20 victory points. It's still a close game, but the French do need to have double of the Ottoman victory points to win the game. So we're going to go into turn 11. I believe this is the last turn of the game, and it represents July of 1799. There's no event this time, and the French do launch, receive reinforcements, and then are able to make a very large attack against the Egyptian supply base in El Minja. You can see that in this picture here, shows a big end game attack. And the whole point of this is to preempt any Ottoman effort to reclaim the towns of Fayoum or Beni Suef. The Ottomans have a sizable force here, though, and the French forces include some unique units. They have cavalry, but also you can see in the middle of the picture there, they have a riverine gunboat. The French 4th Infantry leads the attack with support from the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Cavalry formations, and the result of this combat is a defender catastrophe. It's the worst possible result for the Ottomans. The entire defending force here is eliminated, and not only will they be unable to regroup in time to threaten Egyptian positions, but the battle is going to give the French 3 victory points. Then we go to the Ottoman part of the turn, and the Bedouins decide to launch an attack against the French National Guard at Acadia. I don't have a picture of that, but it's a concentric attack, and the Bedouins actually win the battle. They do pay heavily with their own losses, but they recapture the town, and that is important. A large Ottoman force also has now surrounded the French in El Arish. I think it was not a wise idea for the French commander to leave these units here. The Royal Navy is right off the coast, as you can see in the picture, supporting this attack. And this attack, which is a counterattack, really results in an Ottoman victory. The Ottomans do suffer heavy casualties here, but the French forces are eliminated. And I think the decision to leave the force at El Arish is going to cost the French player the game. It just wasn't worth it to hold on to that victory point to take this defeat in battle. So the end score is France 45 victory points to 23 victory points. So it's not quite double. So it's not quite 2 to 1. It's like 1.9 to 1. So, I mean, this is very close to a draw, but it is, I guess, technically an Ottoman victory. So, you know, in game terms, Napoleon's now deciding a plan of withdrawal, and he's going to be heading back to Europe and taking with him his, scientific discoveries and whatnot. This last picture kind of shows the overview at the end of the game in 1799. You can see the French are completely in control of the Nile River, all the way from the south up into, their base areas in the north. But you can see near the Egyptian, Syria-Palestine border, the Ottoman forces really still control that, and they control El Arish in the top right-hand part of the picture, as well as Gaza in the far top right-hand part of the picture. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. The game produces a decent narrative, so I enjoyed it for that purpose. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a great day.
Trucking, got my chips cashed in. Keep trucking, like the Doodah Man. Together, more or less in line. Just keep trucking on.
Arrows of neon and flashing marquees out on Main Street. Chicago, New York, Detroit, and it's all on the same street. A typical city involved in a typical daydream. Hang it up and see what tomorrow brings.
Dallas got a soft machine. Houston